Okay, hi 8th grade. We are starting with Progress Report 11 now, April 21st, and we're still tracking the ways in which Charlie's character has changed after his brain operation. So follow along with me. We're on Progress Report 11 at the bottom of page 293 in the upper left corner of your page. All right, April 21st. Still didn't go into the factory. I told Mrs. Flynn, my landlady, to call and tell Mr. Donegan I was sick. Mrs. Flynn looks at me very funny lately, like she's scared of me. I think it's a good thing about finding out how everybody laughs at me. I thought about it a lot. It's because I'm so dumb, and I don't even know when I'm doing something dumb. People think that it's funny when a dumb person can't do the same way they can. Do the things the same way they can. Anyway, now I know I'm getting smarter every day. I know punctuation and I can spell good. I like to look up all the hard words in the dictionary and I remember them. I'm reading a lot now, and Miss Kinnian says I read very fast. Sometimes I even understand what I'm reading about, and it stays in my mind. There are times when I can close my eyes and think of a page and it all comes back like a picture. All right, pause here for a second and quickly jot to the side. How is Charlie changed? How has he changed? In what ways has he changed? How has his academic ability changed? And how is his reaction to other people changing? Pause your video and write a couple sentences. Okay, welcome back. Besides history, geography, and arithmetic, Miss Kinnian said I should start to learn a few foreign languages. Dr. Strauss gave me some more tapes to play while I was asleep. I still don't understand how that conscious and unconscious mind works, but Dr. Strauss says not to worry yet. He asked me to promise that when I start learning college subjects next week, I wouldn't read any books on psychology. That is, until he gives me permission. I feel a lot better today, but I guess I'm still a little angry that all the time people were laughing and making fun of me because I wasn't smart. When I become intelligent, like Dr. Strauss says, with 3 times my IQ of 68, maybe I'll be like everyone else and people will like me and be friendly. I'm not sure what an IQ is. Dr. Niemer said it was something that measured how intelligent you were, like a scale in the drugstore weighs pounds. But Dr. Strauss had a big argument with him and said an IQ didn't weigh intelligence at all. He said an IQ showed how much intelligence you could get, like the numbers on the outside of a measuring cup. You still had to fill up the cup with stuff. Then when I asked Bert, who gives me my intelligence tests and works with Algernon, he said both of them were wrong, only I had to promise not to tell them so. Bert says that the IQ measures a lot of different things, including some of the things you learned already, and it really isn't any good at all. So, I still don't know what IQ is, except that mine is going to be over 200 soon. I didn't want to say anything, but I don't see how if they don't know what it is or where it is. I don't see how they know how much of it you got. Dr. Niemer says I have to take a Rorschach test tomorrow. I wonder what that is. Now, remember from our text, we know what a Rorschach test is. He had to take one of those before those ink blot tests. But now he actually knows what the real word is. All right, we are on April 22nd. Follow along with me. Make sure you are starring in the margin what you think is important and underlining the most important parts of the text. I found out what a Rorschach is. It's the test I took before the operation, the one with the ink blots on the pieces of cardboard. The man who gave me the test was the same one. I was scared to death of those ink blots. I knew he was going to ask me to find the pictures, and I knew I wouldn't be able to. I was thinking to myself, if only there was some way of knowing what kind of pictures were hidden there. Maybe there weren't any pictures at all. Maybe it was just a trick to see if I was dumb enough to look for something that wasn't there. Just thinking about that made me sore at him. All right, Charlie, he said. You've seen these cards before, remember? Of course I remember. The way I said it, he knew I was angry, and he looked surprised. Yes, of course. Now I want you to look at this one. What might this be? What do you see on this card? People see all sorts of things in these ink blots. Tell me what it might be for you, what it makes you think of. I was shocked. That wasn't what I had expected him to say at all. You mean there are no pictures hidden in these ink blots? He frowned and took off his glasses. What? Pictures. Hidden in the ink blots. Last time you told me that everyone could see them, and you wanted me to find them too. He explained to me that last time he had used almost the exact same words he was using now. I didn't believe it, and I still had the suspicion that he misled me at the time just for the fun of it. Unless I don't know anymore, could I have been that feeble-minded? We went through the cards slowly. One of them looked like a pair of bats tugging at something. Another one looked like two men fencing with swords. I imagined all sorts of things. I guess I got carried away. But I didn't trust him anymore, and I kept turning them around and even looking on the back to see if there was anything there I was supposed to catch. While he was making his notes, I peeked out of the corner of my eye to read it. But it was all in code that looked like this. WF plus ADDF plus AD orig, WF plus A SF plus obj. The test still doesn't make any sense to me. It seems to me that anyone could make up lies about things that they didn't really see. How could he know I wasn't making a fool of him by mentioning things that I didn't really imagine? Maybe I'll understand it when Dr. Strauss lets me read up on psychology. Okay. So pause your video for a second, and I want you to record on the margin here of your packet. What do you think is the big difference between Charlie taking the inkblot test now than when he took it in the past? What does he know now about the test that he didn't know before? Make sure you underline the evidence that shows that it's different now than it was when he had an IQ of 68. And go ahead and just notate the differences in this space here to the side. Pause your video and we'll come back in 1 second. All right. I figured out a new way to line up the machines in the factory, and Mr. Donegan says it will save him $10,000 a year in labor and increased production. He gave me a $25 bonus. I wanted to take Joe Karp and Frank Riley out to lunch to celebrate, but Joe said he had to buy some things for his wife, and Frank said he was meeting his cousin for lunch. I guess it'll take a little time for them to get used to the changes in me. Everybody seems to be frightened of me. Underline that. When I went over to Amos Borg and tapped him on the shoulder, he jumped up in the air. People don't talk to me much anymore or kid around the way they used to. It makes the job kind of lonely. All right. This video is going to end. I want you to write for April 25th the reason in the margin. Why do you think that people are afraid of Charlie now? And why is he so lonely? All right. We'll go on to the next video. Join us when you have finished writing that.